Okay, thank you everyone for jumping on here to listening to Dr. Melody Rodarte. I highly respect your time and thank you for getting on so early in the morning to listen to this wisdom that Dr. Melody has to share with us. Now, before we get into the meeting, I'd also like to just introduce Dr. Melody and have a little bio on her that I can explain who she is and where she's from and all those sorts of things so you guys get to know who she is. But no matter where you are, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thank you all again for jumping on here. We will get straight into this and hopefully we won't take up too much of your time. So Dr. Melody, I also thank you for jumping on, and we really appreciate you taking this time out of your busy day to get on here. I know in your part of the world it's late in the afternoon, whereas for us it's quite early in the morning, but we do sincerely appreciate your willingness to want to jump on here and share this information with us. Now, guys, just to let you know, Dr. Melody Rodarte has been practicing since 2005 as a board-certified internal medicine and obesity medicine doctor. She's certified in hyperbaric medicine, wound care, and medical aesthetics. I hope I'm saying this right. And Dr. Rodarte has been married for 20 years with her 15-year-old twins, which are so cute. I love looking at photos of your family. They're so amazing. I shouldn't say cute because they're 15, but they still are. And she was on the chaired pharmacy team at a hospital for 5 years and named one of the top doctors in Phoenix, Arizona in 2017 for obesity medicine. So welcome, Dr. Melody Rodarte. Thank you. And I'll quickly get you to say hello and just tell us a bit about yourself and share a bit more of your history before we go into the next lot of questions. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today, and I'm just excited to share with you guys. I love Australia. I can't wait. I'm hoping to be able to go down there more. I have family in Melbourne. I have to say it correctly, right? Not the English way of Melbourne. But it's such a beautiful country, so I really enjoy going down there, and I'm just excited to share today with you and just share the knowledge of staying healthy. And that's really my story is, I was blessed to be born to, we just celebrated the 4th, and we were kind of talking about this as here in the States, is just the opportunities that we had. And my parents came here from Lebanon in the 70s, and I was born, and it was wonderful because I had every opportunity that they had wanted for me and my brother to, go to school, and I chose to become a physician. My brother chose that as well, and my whole goal was to find ways to keep people healthy and out of the office, to grow old slower, to do preventative medicine, and so this talk fits right into it. So I can get wordy, cut me off at any time. I love teaching people how to stay healthy and out of the doctor's office, which is wasn't heard of years ago, and now people are seeking out physicians like myself and healthcare workers that can keep them healthy and not just put Band-Aids on a problem.
Wow, I love that introduction already, and we do know, we love your wisdom. So please don't hold back on anything that you say within any of these questions. So I'll get straight into them if that's okay with you. So Dr. Melody Rodarte, how did you become aware of oxidative stress, and what exactly is oxidative stress, in your terms?
I became aware of oxidative stress early on. I know it's a term that a lot of physicians might not know about, but because I chose the path of becoming a doctor of osteopathic medicine, which is a DO, we talked a lot about oxidative stress and free radicals and the natural wear and tear that can happen inside of the body, because we studied the body as a whole, not in just parts, but really treating the body as a whole. So I learned about it very early, and you had mentioned, with my early career, I had started off with hyperbaric medicine and wound care, and so oxidative stress was actually very important in the treatment. We knew we needed to reduce oxidative stress, and we used high-dose oxygen in order to help people heal. So it's been in my vocabulary from the beginning, and then it became even more, what's the word I'm looking for? more personal because of my journey with my son. And some of you already know the journey that I've had with my son, but he has an autoimmune condition called alopecia totalis. And that's a fancy word for losing all of his hair, his eyelashes, his eyebrows. And we think that a viral infection triggered it right before kindergarten. We went through a lot of diagnostic evaluations and then treatment. It took about 6 months, but at that point, it became very personal to me with how can I reduce his oxidative stress even more, because I knew that his life was going to be more affected by stressors, and he'd be more at risk for other autoimmune disorders because he now had one. So it became very personal to me to find ways of reducing oxidative stress other than a good healthy diet, because that was something that he already was on. I was blessed to have my mom making them, baby food and making us food all the time, that the Mediterranean diet. So it wasn't his diet, and so I started on this journey of even diving deeper of what can I do for, one, my family, and then two, can it bleed over into how I help my patients as well?
Wow, your son's story is so incredible. I know you've shared that many times before, but we never get tired of hearing that information, especially autoimmune problems. They're so, they're out there everywhere these days, aren't they? And so, why is it, do you think, that we have oxidative stress, which is causing, a lot of these problems, or a link to all of these problems? And does it actually affect every single person?
So yes, oxidative stress affects all of us, and it's actually a good thing and a bad thing, right? Too much of something can cause problems. Too little of something can cause problems. So it's part of the aging process. It's part of the equation of how, when chemical reactions are happening inside of our body, and actually outside of our body. Like, I know a lot of us have that example of the apple turning brown, and that's oxidation, right? It's nice for visually that we can see. When it's happening inside of our bodies, we have these incredible complex bodies that can be simple in a way too. And if we cannot clean it up, if we can't take the trash out, and if we can't function normally, disease can set in. So it just depends on how well our bodies heal, how well we function, our stress levels, our nutrition, what we're exposed to. That all leads into oxidative stress. And if we don't clean it up, then we're more likely to have disease set in. And what I usually tell when I'm teaching about this is I'll say oxidative stress can affect a cell, and the cell makes up a tissue, the tissue makes up an organ, and the organ makes up our body. So depending on what genetically our markers are set to do in motion, will be, like for me, migraines, alopecia for my son, inflammatory bowel for my husband. It just depends on how it's expressed. And so oxidative stress does affect all of us. And how we clean it up and what we do to decrease it is the goal, right? We don't want chronic disease to set in. And so we want to reduce oxidative stress, but a little bit is okay, because it's then telling our body to grow and to function. And so we do need a little bit.
Great, thank you. That's interesting that, not many people talk about the fact that we do need a little bit of oxidative stress, but I assume, if you've got some sort of a virus, or you've cut yourself, that's where the oxidation can help, can't it? Because it stops the bleeding, or it can help the virus to fight itself off, and those sorts of things as well. So, and I didn't realize that your whole family seems to have effects of oxidative stress, as you mentioned there. But what about your cat? I know I heard you talk about your cat before. We have so many people on here that love animals. Do animals have oxidative stress, and what are the signs of oxidative stress in animals as well?
So our four-legged friends have more oxidative stress than we do, and they tend to age. If you take the example of a dog, they age 7 years faster than we do. And so if we love our animals, then we can actually reduce their oxidative stress and help them out as well too. And yes, our cat has, if you knew me 5 years ago, you would never have thought I'd had a cat at the house. And, you know, things have come abound and around, and my daughter just really wanted one. And yes, his name is Henry. He's brought joy to our house, but he has been one sick little cat. And I'll tell you right now, activating his Nrf2 has definitely helped him out. So, and having a personal friend who's a veterinarian has definitely helped my pocketbook too.
Oh, that's amazing. And have you seen many testimonials yourself with animals and oxidative stress, and how, you know, activating Nrf2 has really helped them, apart from your own cat?
I have, and that's because because of my girlfriend being a vet, I would in the initial you know, months or weeks that I learned about Nrf2, I had to tell it. So I've gotten to see things that have been, you know, with them. There are 6 vets totally on my team, and of course just pay you know, members who have put their animals on to activation, what we've seen. But it's amazing because so many people have saved money with not needing to have, let's say, ACL surgeries for dogs, which usually don't even last more than 6 months, because it's hard to tell a dog to calm down when you give them back their knees. And so I've really enjoyed seeing Nrf2 activation in our 4-legged friends, because we get to see the results much quicker sometimes than we do as in humans. Sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to clean up the mess that we've made with life and see results. And so it's nice to see what we you know, the quickness of what Nrf2 activation can do in our 4-legged friends.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So why is it, do you think that we don't really get educated on oxidative stress, and why physicians, you know, doctors, medical professionals don't know about it themselves? Why is this?
I truly believe it's because they didn't have an answer, right? It's like, what do we do? So the answer is yes. Do I have oxidative stress? Okay, how do I reduce it? You know, most physicians won't really know yet. They'll just say, you know, eat better, sleep, and exercise. But when you want to nail it down and go, what are some really specific things I can do? They might, I would say these days, they're more open to saying, you know, see a naturopath, or go see a chiropractor, or go see an acupuncturist. They might have an answer, but unfortunately, physicians, they like to have concretes that you can do that they know. You have high blood pressure, there are 6 classes of medications or more that we can choose from. And we know by putting you on a blood pressure pill, your numbers are going to be better. So it's much easier for them to talk about the things that they have a tool to fix for. So until now, you know, they haven't had a really a superb tool like we are learning about now about reducing oxidative stress. And like I said before, some people might not have learned about it in medical school either. And so it is something that I think is more common to hear about, especially because of the way personalized medicine is going in healthcare, that the consumer, you know, the patient is coming with these terms and asking to have a conversation with their physician instead of you know, just almost like I can't think of another word, a father-son kind of thing. You know, they have the doctor's the father, they have the son, you know, they have the answer, and there's no questions or dialogue. It's like, that's how it is. So medicine is definitely different than 10 years ago, than 20 years ago, and it's got to be a conversation. And so I think because of the way media and social media is now, it is definitely becoming a term that people want to understand and know what they can do to reduce it.
Great, thank you. So really it's just a matter of not only listening to the physicians, but also helping yourself to understand why we need to reduce oxidative stress and being vigilant on that ourselves and doing our own due diligence on that. But can you help us understand why it is important to take charge of our own oxidative stress and reduce that for ourselves, and maybe go into a little bit about Nrf2 activation for us as well?
Yeah, so we know that oxidative stress is the root cause of over 200 diseases. Nobody is going to, you know, question that statement. So the question now is, how are we going to reduce it? one of the ways that we know best, and we can talk really in depth, today about, is Nrf2 activation. We know that by activating this protein pathway in our bodies are equipped with these beautiful antioxidants that are more potent than anything that you can ingest or you can get through an IV infusion. So if you can turn on your body's way of releasing those antioxidants that we make, we know that then they can go on and neutralize free radicals and reduce oxidative stress at a rate that is more proficient or more efficient than anything that we can take in orally. That is the key part. That's where science is going, is we're trying to biohack that aging process. We're trying to help that body take control of a complex situation and make it simple, and just be able to clean up the mess that can start when we have too much oxidative stress. So the key thing that people really need to start looking at is Nrf2 activation, because it is a beautiful protein pathway that we have in our cells.
Great, thank you. So you did mention Nrf2 activation. Can you explain what that means, or more about that pathway, I guess in layman's terms, for us to understand how that works for us to benefit us in reducing that oxidative stress?
Yeah, so I think the easiest thing to think about is usually we need stimulants, some type of stimulus in a cell to turn on a pathway, and so there are different types of stimulants that we have, whether it's food or activating supplements, that can go into a cell and say, look, there's problems here. We need to release our own antioxidants. So when that pathway is activated, let's say through supplementation, through an Nrf2 activator, okay, they're going into the cell and it's telling that pathway, and it's going all the way down into the nucleus. It's actually like there's actually one side that's a 2-step process, there's a 3-step process. We can actually there's a couple science seminars for those of you who like it drawn out. But all you need to know in layman's terms is that Nrf2 activator, if you take it as a little yellow pill, what it's doing is it's going into that cell and it's saying, release the antioxidants. Things like superoxide dismutase, catalase, heme oxygenase 1, glutathione. These are all terms that you can actually look up, and you can see what powerful antioxidants they are. They're natural antioxidants that our bodies have and can release, and can neutralize free radicals at just a rate that is unbelievable if you get it in the right combination.
Awesome, thank you. That was a great answer. That I think everyone should understand that, hopefully. I know I definitely did. Okay, so when we're looking at reducing oxidative stress through activating that Nrf2 pathway, what is your favorite way to do that, or what are some of your favorite ways to do that?
So nutrition is always going to be one of my favorite things to tell people. So don't stop eating your green leafy vegetables and your blueberries and your strawberries, your antioxidant type, berries. But then my new favorite way, so that's always a given, right, is you've got to make sure that you eat healthy and you sleep and you take care of yourself and you exercise. But the little yellow pill is my favorite now, because it is the most studied and the most patented Nrf2 activator that is on the market, whether it prescription or natural. And so Protandim is, I'll say it by name, if you go to PubMed, so myself as a physician, I always go to PubMed when somebody wants me to look up something, whether it's a medication or it's something over the counter. And 3.5 years ago, when someone introduced this little yellow pill to me, that is where I went, because I wanted that validation. I wanted to know that there was something other than the company that had looked at this product, especially if I was going to give it to my son. I needed to know what is in this little yellow pill. So I went on to PubMed.gov. Put on by the National Institute of Health. It's P as in Paul, U, B as in boy, med.gov, and it's where peer-reviewed data is. And when I typed that in 3.5 years ago, there were 16 peer-reviewed articles. And today, if you go and do that research, there are 24 peer-reviewed articles. So that's what excites me even more, is because it takes time to get research done and then to have a third party look at and validate it and then get it published. So the fact that we still are having research articles coming out year after year after year is just incredible. It sets us apart. It gives me great joy to then talk about it with my patients, my colleagues, my friends, my family, to do these types of webinars, Zoominars, because I know that I am giving people knowledge that they need to make then an educated decision. And there is so much scientific literature for them to go to if they so wish. I love it that some people come back to me and said, I had to type it in, just prove that it was there. It's there. It looks like it's all in a foreign language. I'm going to trust you now. and I say, great. And if there's one that you want me to take apart for you because you're interested in osteoarthritis or cardiovascular disease or altitude sickness, and I mean, the list goes on, I can then go through it with you if you so wish. But it's just there for you to definitely go, oh my gosh, people have actually really looked at it. It's not just, my uncles, sisters, nephews, grandpa who's, saying this is good for you.
Great. I love that answer. And how powerful is it that we can go into pubmed.gov and see the information there for ourselves? It's not like we have to go to a doctor to find that information. It's right there in front of our own eyes and we can see that for ourselves. And I think that's really powerful for our own validation. Okay, so the next one is all about children. Now, do you find that it is important to reduce oxidative stress in children? I know you mentioned your son with alopecia. I'd actually love to know, did he grow his hair back, after reducing that oxidative stress? What actually happened to him? But not only him, what about other children? Do you find it's really important for them to reduce that oxidative stress? And can we give our product, our little yellow pill that you spoke about, can we give that to our children?
Those are great questions. So I'll see if I'll answer them all in a row here. So one, my son has a beautiful head of hair now, and we're not meant to cure, treat, prevent, or mitigate disease, but by reducing his oxidative stress, I really feel and I believe that is why he's been able to recover well. We did do 6 months of treatment prior to me learning about the little yellow pill. And with that 6 months of treatment, it included steroids orally, topically, and injected into his scalp, as well as burning his scalp with an acid called squaric acid. He was lucky enough to grow it all back at that point. But whenever he would get sick or he would undergo some stress, and those of you who want the longer version, I'll tell you at some point, he would start to lose some of his hair and he would end up getting coin lesions. So coin lesions are a little bit different, where it's like what it sounds. It sounds like it looks like a coin. And so we would do comb overs and try to hide the bald spots and everything. And so 3.5 years ago, when I started him on this, he had several coin lesions, and I was putting topical Nrf2 as well as having him start orally Nrf2 activation. And I started seeing repair much quicker, and we weren't needing to do all the other treatments that came with treating his alopecia and trying to keep it controlled. 3.5 years ago, his dermatologist wanted him to go on Prozac. That was her answer to the next step of reducing oxidative stress. And I'm telling you, not telling you biased, he's a normal child, but he really is a normal child. He did not need Prozac, but that was her only answer. And I love her, she's brilliant, but that was her only answer to reducing stress. So I am so thankful that I learned about Nrf2 activation, because I didn't know about it at 3.5 years ago. So for 3.5 years, my son has not needed steroids, whether they were oral, topical, or injected, and hasn't needed any acid. And about 3 months ago, he actually got the flu. It was going through the US, and he spiked a temperature of 102, and I warned him, and I said, look, your body is under complete attack by this. And if you start to lose your hair, I've got all kinds of tools. We're going to figure this out. And, you know, I got together with some of my colleagues. I'm blessed to sit on the medical advisory board and just asked a few more things. What can I do to protect my son right now? And we did implement those things, and knock on wood, you know, I do believe in a higher power too. He did not lose he didn't lose any of his hair through that. So it's been a blessing. I did increase his Nrf2. He was taking it 3 times a day for a few days. There's no benefit to more than that, for those of you who want to ask that, because it's a pulsatile nature. But that's my son's story. As far as children go, I unfortunately feel like children are under more stress than when we grew up. I'm in my 40s. You know, I think things changed for people who are, you know, even for those who are in their 20s. The world that they grew up was different than the world that the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, you know, everyone has grown up in. So I think the amount of oxidative stress that they are receiving via, you know, holding a cell phone and sleeping with a cell phone next to them, their iPads, their computers, just the technology that's around is one thing, and what we do to our food. I mean, I grew up with, you know, us having a vegetable garden in the backyard and not always, you know, going to the grocery store for things. So I think that what we are our children are exposed to is different than in the past too, and so we do need to reduce their oxidative stress. We have not tested in children, so I cannot tell you as a physician that, yes, give this to your children. I can only tell you what I myself have done. And what I can also tell you is the ingredients that are in Protandim are herbs. And if you have any problems with giving a salad to your child, then that's what you need to decide. And it's salad in a pill. But we are never going to do studies with children specifically, because we're not meant to go that direction. And nobody really funds things like this with children. So you can talk to people about it and see what they have done and let them give you some of their answers. But I will tell you that when children already have diseases that are linked to oxidative stress, like autism, like anxiety, like diabetes, it's amazing how many diabetic children, I won't see children under 15, but my group will, and it's amazing how many diabetics we're seeing. And this is usually an illness or a disease we will see after 30 and 40 and 50 years of age. For us to be seeing it in teenagers is just incredible. So my long and short answer is children have oxidative stress when they're already exhibiting things that Nrf2 activation could help with. I would say then, in my personal opinion, it's a no-brainer. But for those who are wanting protection, you can start thinking about that as well, because we know by activating the Nrf2 pathway, we are detoxifying carcinogens. If you look at that OSU study, we are protecting our genes by up and down regulating them to help protect the cell. And so I've chosen to put, you know, my daughter on this, and she has no medical issues, but there is now breast cancer in my family, and you know, and my husband has an autoimmune disorder, my son has one, so I'm doing it more as preventative with her because she's in her teens, and I don't know if there's something that I can protect her from, and so that's my personal opinion and what I'm personally doing.
Great, thank you. Oh my goodness, that's very scary that under 15-year-olds are having diabetes, you know, so young, and so many of them. That's such an alarming thought to have. And I know, as you said, we don't claim to treat, prevent, cure, or mitigate anything out there. And so I do appreciate that this is just your opinion, and we do have to tell the audience that as well. But with dosage with children, you know, I guess you can only really talk about your children or your friends' children. What doses would you give a child for Protandim, our little yellow pill?
So I would just say it's going to be dependent, and get to the person who invited you to this, and we can talk more details. That's the professional answer.
Great, that's no problem at all. We can definitely do that. If anyone needs to do that later on, please reach back out to Dr. Melody Rodarte or myself and we can help you with that. Now, does the product interact with any other drugs or medication that if people are using that, especially adults, if they're on some sort of drug or medication, they've been on that for quite a long time and then they start our little yellow pill, is there any interaction that they have to worry about?
So I would say that we don't have any contraindications, but some people might be on a certain blood thinner called Coumadin or warfarin. And so if you know anything about that medication, anything in your diet changing can change that dose. So I tell everybody that you need to talk with your physician about that you're going to be adding the little yellow pill to your regimen, and that you might want to come in for more blood checks to see whether or not it's affecting the dose. But just like everybody says, I'm not allowed to have green leafy vegetables because I'm on that, I'm on that drug. I'll say, no, I want you to have a salad every day. But that's what I want you to do is I want you to have a salad every day. If you want to have a grapefruit, it's going to be the same amount every day. If you do those same types of things, then you're not going to always be having to have your doses adjusted, okay? So there are two other areas that we always tell people that we'd like for you to work with your medical team would be people who have had organ transplants, because there are no studies with what this can do with those anti-rejection medications. And then if someone is undergoing active chemotherapy, again, we don't have any studies that can show that it would change the protocol or the efficacy of the chemotherapy. Now, with the way medicine is going, do people use those types of things in treatment? I will say yes, but again, I am not their treating physician, and nor are we as a company, and so we always tell people, take a list of those ingredients and let the team decide whether or not they are okay with you taking it. I'll say most often they'll look at the dosage and say, wow, I've heard of milk thistle, I've heard of turmeric. These are really low doses. I don't think you're going to get any benefits from this. And that's because they just don't understand the synergy. But what we get excited about is they are subtherapeutic alone, but they're more potent together than anything else out there. And so we can feel rest assured that it is not going to be causing any issues with medications that people are on. But again, I'm a team player, so I always tell people you have to find a medical team that is on the same page as you and will have a discussion. I mean, go figure, have a discussion with your doctor, right? So you've got to find a medical team that you feel comfortable with having a discussion with so that you are a part of that decision making process and not told what to do, but discussed what are we going to do.
Great. Thank you so much. That's an amazing answer. Thank you. I noticed you mentioned there about the synergy and how, yes, we can go and find these products on their own. There are a lot of companies out there that claim they have magic miracle pills and those sorts of things out there. But why is it that we can trust Protandim as an amazing product? And also, can you go into the synergy of what you said, with making the ingredients more powerful when they're mixed together in that little yellow pill?
So the incredible part about Protandim is it started off with the human clinical study showing that we reduced oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days and then up to 70% with continued use. And that was using our formulation. From there, we also have multiple patents protecting that synergistic blend. So there are not going to be copycats for quite a while with it. So it's not only protecting the synergistic blend, but the part of the herb that's used, okay? So a lot of people will say, yes, I can, go find all of these over the counter. And I'll say, well, you don't know what part of the plant was used. What the manufacturing process was. And if you get these all natural ingredients from some of the best suppliers, you're actually not going to be able to do this at less than what we sell Protandim as. And if you think you can do it, go ahead. But I've even talked to compounding pharmacists who can't believe that the price point of Protandim is where it's at. So then you can feel rest assured with the way that we manufacture our product. So not only do we monitor the fields that each herb is grown in, but they undergo strict guidelines to make sure that no herbicides and pesticides and heavy metals are a part of our batch. They're brought here to the States. They are tested through California guidelines, which are the most stringent here in the US. And then as a company, we not only test each lot before it goes into production, but during production and after production. And we do not do any skip lots. And for some of you, you might not know what skip lots are, but what they will do as a manufacturing company, most other companies, even drug companies, they'll have what's called a skip lot. And that means that they've had enough go through that are quality, and so they're trusting the system that they don't have to test then everything going through. They're trusting the system that everything is fine. Well, we don't. We go the extra mile. We don't have to go through that, and we do that. We make sure we do not have any skip lots. And so those of you who are really interested, there's a YouTube on our manufacturing process that you can watch and and get a little bit more knowledge about how Protandim is manufactured. And so the other thing that I had mentioned was our patents. You cannot patent an herb. It grows naturally. It's not like, ooh, I came up with, a new milk thistle plant. But why we have the patents on Protandim is because of what it does. And that is what is patented. The synergistic blend showed that it reduced inflammation, that it reduced scarring. The list goes, reduced oxidative stress. If you read through those patents, you would just be blown away by what they noticed. And so that's why we were allowed to get so many patents protecting its synergistic blend. Together, we are 18 times more potent than in taking those herbal ingredients separately at turning on our survival genes. And then if that wasn't enough, what I just told you, the NIA did a 10-year study looking at medications as well as natural supplements at what could extend lifespan. And Protandim was the only natural ingredient in that phase that extended lifespan. And several ingredients that are in Protandim were studied alone, and they did not extend lifespan. So that's proof in it enough that that's the blend I want to take. Why? Try any other blend right now. It's a I like to say the word no-brainer for me. It's what my family and I are going to take.
If that doesn't want people to take this product from hearing that information and they don't want to go out now and try it, I don't know what's going to convince them to do that. That was incredible information regarding the manufacturing process and where we source the ingredients and the fact that there's no herbicides and pesticides and that sort of stuff. That's very vital information that a lot of us probably don't know about, but we can now use, or people can now really learn about, because I wasn't aware of that YouTube video myself. So great information there. Thank you so much, Dr. Rodarte. Okay, so just going on with the company stuff, does the company offer a money-back guarantee on the product? Not that I think anyone would want their money back after all this great information, but do they offer a money-back guarantee?
I think that they offer a guarantee within a certain number of days. They're not going to guarantee that it works. They're not going to guarantee, that you're going to be healed. That's not what we're trying to do. But I think they have an initial guarantee that if you get it and let's say you have an allergic reaction the first 7 days, that's pretty much the only thing that I would worry about if someone, has an allergy to the specific herb. I think that you can do that. I do not know the specifics. I always tell people, don't even, if you're only going to try it for a month, I would rather you not try it unless it's, if it's just one pill that you want to see if you have an allergic reaction because you've had a problem with turmeric, let's say, then here, I'll give you one of my pills so you can take it and see. But I don't really want anybody taking it for just a month because nothing good or bad is most likely going to happen, because it's kind of like I go back to if you eat a salad for a month and figure out that you're going to be, you're going to be safe from anything happening and cured. That's not going to happen. It's salad and a pill. And so you want to stay on something like this. And it takes time to clean up the mess that we've made. And so if someone really, I'm being honest with you, if someone wants it for a month, I'm going to be like, I'd rather you not go on it, because you're going to tell me nothing happened. And I'm going to tell you, yeah, I didn't expect anything to happen. So don't do it. So, but I'm kind of an honest, straightforward person. So,
and we love that. Yeah. As Australians, we love straightforward, honest people. So I thank you so much for that. So you mentioned, is it 4 months you think they should be on it for, or closer to 6 months if they're just trying it, as a minimum?
I would say at least 1 month for every decade of life, and truly 4 to 6 months. And that gives your body enough that if you are someone who truly has an end goal, let's say, then there are certain blood work, and I won't go into it here, that you can get, that if you would like to see the numbers change, you can. But because of the human clinical trial, I already know that your oxidative stress is going to reduce at least 40% in 30 days. What that's going to look like in a month, in 6 months, in a year, 10 years, 20 years, I can't tell you, because I'm not God. But what I can tell you is you're more likely to grow old kicking and screaming and with less chronic disease and progression of chronic disease if you stay on this. That is reducing your oxidative stress.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So if people do go on this for around that 4 to 6 months and then they're saying, I'm still not feeling anything, how do they know that it's actually working? Or is it trusting the science, basically?
It's trusting the science. It's someone who's more worried about, or more, who's preventative. Like for myself, I started taking it not thinking it was going to help reduce my migraines. That's just an added benefit. I want to be on it because if you've heard me lecture, I always tell people I want to grow old kicking and screaming. I got into skincare. I got into all kinds of things because I want to grow old being able to play with my grandkids and my great grandkids and not have a walker and a wheelchair and a cabinet full of medications. I want to live life to its fullest. So if someone still at that 4 to 6 month mark is going, I'm not feeling anything, I'll be like, well, that's okay. Maybe you're already someone who's healthy. But what I do know is it's reducing oxidative stress that can lead to chronic disease. The other thing too is that with changing of seasons, I'll say more people go, wow, I'm not as tired as other people, or I didn't get sick, or mostly family members will come up to you and go, you're not getting upset as fast as you usually get upset, or it's just crazy, or I didn't get as much jet lag as I typically do when I travel. So it'll be little tiny things. I'll tell people, keep a journal if you're really worried about it. Watch your sleep, watch your mood, watch how many times you get sick or you get fat, you get better before someone else. It's just amazing. Our purpose is to give the tools to the body to fight the aging process, to reduce disease, and to live our best selves, right? So if you go back to that lifespan study, lifespan is different than disease span. So lifespan is living a healthier life, being more active. 5 years more was noted, and that's of having a healthier life, right? Not just 5 more years of diabetes and going, God, I wish I was gone 5 years ago. It's having a healthier life, an active life. It's lifespan. So there are those little words that some people might not even catch if they're not well read, or they're not into this field of anti-aging or regenerative medicine.
Great. Thank you so much for this information. So Dr. Rodarte, what if people take other supplements? What are the most important supplements that you would recommend alongside Protandim if they're looking at, should I change my supplements, or should I add or reduce something now that I'm on Protandim?
So I think that's where you've got to work closely with your healthcare team and knowing what else you might need. So you definitely don't need any of the ingredients that are in Protandim, Nrf1, Nrf2, because then you're wasting money. And you might change the blend if you're taking them at the same time. So I would say You don't need any of those key ingredients. You don't need to take antioxidants because you're making your own antioxidants. And now with you taking high dose antioxidants, you might be creating pro-oxidants. Like if you take vitamin C or vitamin E or some of those types of things, I'd be like, stop. You don't need any of those anymore. You don't need to waste your money. And then, you know, it just depends. Like, so I love we haven't really mentioned our vitality stack. I love our vitality stack because we have a clean omega. Omega-3s and 7s, super important. We have a vitamin D in there. So many of us are vitamin D deficient despite living in areas where there's lots of sunlight, you know, and a probiotic. So it's kind of taking care of the entire body there. I love what's called our vitality stack. And so some people might have, let's say, osteoporosis. So they may need some more calcium or a higher dose of vitamin D. Other people, you know, might have some health conditions where they might need to supplement with some other herbal ingredients. And so that's where it's really important to work with your healthcare team. But as far as antioxidants go, or any of the ingredients that you are in Protandim, you don't need those anymore because you have the right blend.
Great, thank you so much. So some of our guests may say that, okay, I'm healthy, I eat a very raw, organic diet, you know, they may be saying this sort of thing, and they eat a lot of raw, rich antioxidant veggies and those sorts of things. So why would they need more antioxidants, or why would they need our little yellow pill?
Because they're still growing old and they're still aging. And so you can eat as clean as you want to till the cows come home. You still need to activate that Nrf2 pathway because you are not going to be able to eat enough blueberries and raw, organic, beautiful food to activate Nrf2 in the same process as taking a little yellow pill. So at some point, they might feel great right now, but they're going to start aging, and they're not going to be able to keep it up with what they're eating. No matter how clean and beautiful it is, they are going to continue to age. So they would benefit from using the little yellow pill right now in order to help their gene expression and further put out the fires in their body. There's radiation, whether you fly, you're around cell phone towers, you watch TV, use a cell phone, you know what, and unfortunately, even if you are cultivating your own soil, there's still the harsh elements of rain and wear and tear of the earth. So we're all around it. Yes, some of us are around it more than others. And I would love to be, you know, have a personal chef who could cook for me and bring me and, you know, grow all I'll never become a total vegetarian. I love fish, and sometimes I gotta have a steak, but you know, it's having a balance, and some of them are probably having more oxidative stress with the type of activities they do. Most of the time, these are people that are very good athletes, and you can't slow down that aging process, and you've got to heal and repair. And so I would choose to use it to activate the Nrf2 pathway.
Absolutely. It's such a great little tool on top of our amazing diets, if we have them anyway. I just think it's so incredible, and I never get sick of this information. Thank you. Okay, so in Australia, Protandim is $59. In your opinion, is that a reasonable price? I know it's a little bit less in America, but for the Australians, do you think that's a reasonable price for what we're getting? To me, I think it is. It's, you know, incredible for what we're getting here.
I'd go back to if I don't think they could get clean herbs or those same ingredients and put it together for less than $60. Even if in the States it was $60, I would still say it would be still worth it to take, because one, I want to take it in the most effective form, and two, to be able to get all of those where they are tested, and I'm getting the best product. I would be spending more than $60 a month for those bottles and those ingredients.
Great, thank you. Now, there's more and more companies out there who are claiming to have Nrf2 activators on the market now, and we know that that's happening. So we know that Protandim is the most potent one out there. How do you respond when people actually ask you about these other products, and what differentiates Protandim from these other Nrf2 activators on the market?
I tell them I'd like to see their research. So, and let me know their product name, and I'll look it up on PubMed with them. And so that's where I go. That's where I hang my hat up daily right now. There are going to be Nrf2 activators that come to the market for those of us who are in this business who think that, there's never going to be competition. That's being blind. There will be. There is a rat race to making more Nrf2 activators right now. If you talk with, Dr. Sveta, she's been to 2, Nrf2 conferences, and what are they talking about? Activating Nrf2 and who's doing it and what's, on the drawing board to come out. So I'm going to rest my head knowing that I'm on the most potent, the most studied, the most researched, the most patented right now. So until something else can come out and beat Protandim, that's what I'm going to talk about and what I'm going to put into my family, as well as my body.
Awesome. I don't think there's anything out there that's going to ever beat this. We've just got too much studies and information now on this product. It's just incredible. So Dr. Rodarte, just to close off, as a mum and a busy physician and someone who is very passionate about nutrigenomics and what we have with this little yellow pill, you must have a lot going on in your life, right? And we want to know why you've chosen to become a distributor of Protandim for your business and for your family.
That's a great question because I get it asked at each meeting. And it's because I can reach more people doing these types of events than I could in my practice with helping them know about something that could keep them away from disease, if you want to think of it that way. So when I found out that there was a business side to this, I became very excited. I had never been introduced to this type of business, so it took a couple meetings to explain how it works to me, because I had always been used to opening an account and then carrying a product in my business, and quite honestly, I couldn't believe that it cost me barely nothing to open up my account to be a distributor, because when I had to open up some of my skincare lines, my first order had to be over $5,000 or $6,000. So when they kind of showed me that how little it was, I kind of chuckled and I said, "Can I order more?" And they thought, "Why would you need more?" And it was still in my head that I'd have to have this on my shelves, right? I didn't understand that I didn't have to carry inventory. It was still very difficult for me to pick up on that. But what I love is nothing has ever come to me to be at the ground floor of something like this, where I could, one, not only help my revenue, because I want to go out and do things in the world. And if I cannot see patients, then I don't make money and I don't meet my overhead. And some people just think that physicians are just so rich. And I like to tell them I went into primary care. And I went to a private medical school, and I still owe $70,000 worth in loans. And it's been over 15 years. So I have to do something so that my kids, or I'm not working till the day I die. My goal is to be able to, one, pay off my school loans, two, not worry about an overhead. I did 3 medical missions last year. That is something that is on my heart. Speak more than one language, and I was blessed to become a physician, so I'm going to go out and bless the world. That's how I see it. So this is a company that's allowing me to have something I never knew about, residual income, so that I can go out and have these wild and crazy dreams of doing things in the world that otherwise I would not have been, because I would have to go to work every day and see 30, 40 patients a day. And then now when I know that it's something that's generational, so my kids are going to be able to inherit this from me, and my kids' kids, that just is incredible. And what is it on? What's near and dear to my health, my heart, preventative health, making people healthier, giving them tools to grow old gracefully, decrease the chance of chronic disease. I mean, this is I'm getting my cake and eating it too. So it's a no-brainer for me. I love being able to be a part of a science-minded company that wants to also go out and change the world. I love that this company does trips, which are like Project Smile with, doing cleft lip and cleft palate repairs, and, backpacks. We were in the Bahamas together, and what did we do? I mean, all of us were down there. We could have skipped to this event, and it was like, what else can we do? What else can we do? It's like, making backpacks for kids to go to school and putting food in there. And I just love being around like-minded people. Being a part of this company is I can't think of anything different I'd want to do. I feel very blessed that it's come into my life, not only because of my son's health, but because of the financial freedoms that are going to be gained by doing this, so that I can go out and do more.
Absolutely incredible, Dr. Melody Rodarte. Thank you so much for all of that information. I can hear your passion coming through this so much, and we are so blessed to know you, and like you said, to hang out with you in the Bahamas as well. That was amazing to meet you there. But guys, I really hope you have learnt something from today. I know that I definitely have, and I really appreciate you all getting on here this morning. And Dr. Melody, we do appreciate and respect your time, so thank you so much for everything that you've done for us here today to answer these questions. Guys, I will finish it up there, and as we said, we don't claim to treat, prevent or cure anything. This is all just Dr. Melody Rodarte's own information that she, her own opinion that she wants to offer to us to have a listen into. So I do thank you for your time with listening into this, and we will leave it there, guys. Thank you so much. And Dr. Rodarte, I'll let you get back to your day. Thank you so much as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love Australia. I will come down there one day again.
Yes, we need you here again, please. Yes, come down and see us. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.